we did have some comments here that we'll get to. Thank you guys, Facebook Live on the Breeze or KUAM FM Agani Guam. Change it up just a little bit as you guys are joining the show right off the bat. We took you all the way to the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. To catch testimony, live testimony from Governor Lilian Guerrero, as well as a representative from CNMI Governor Rob Torres. It was the Finance Secretary, C. David Atalik, and they testified before the Senate about the impact of the coronavirus and the assistance that the territories got and what was used for. Rosemary comments in here. The governor didn't expand on how the ARP funds helped the island. She failed to explain she's still holding back issuance of more than half of what was received. How then can she say the ARP funds assisted the island the best? Our governor had no details to share like the others, Omar says. You know, and just to be fair, I did notice the other testimony was a little more detailed, but Governor Lilian Guerrero did use the opportunity to make a lot of asks about stuff that she would like to see the island of Guam get. 7:34, let's head into the KUAM News Zoom room where we now call to order this mini meeting of the mayors. We have Mayor Alan Gata of Mangilao and Mayor Jesse Gogui of... You down with OCP? Ordot-Chalan Pago. Good morning, mayors.
Good morning.
Good morning, Anthony.
Good morning, Mayor Al. We kind of wanted to catch up with you guys.
Good morning, Jay, Bree, and Jason. Bree, I just want to extend my sincerest condolences for your loss.
Thank you.
We'll go ahead and get right into it because we know you guys are getting, what is it, 17 million? I believe Mayor Jesse Gogui had said that 8 million was, did he say it was in the bank already?
I thought he said they got one, and they were supposed to.
Oh, they got 1 million.
Get 8 sometime.
Right, but in order to get that money, there was a little tit for tat. They had to come up with a spend plan. So, well, I guess we'll start with you, Mayor Gogui. What do you have in store for Ordot-Chalan Pago with this ARP funding that's coming down?
Well, you know, obviously, there are a lot of things that many of the mayors can use that money for. And in fact, prior to the announcement of the disbursement of funds, we were asked to outline some of the projects that have been awaiting funding for some of us for decades. And so one of the pressing things right now that we're looking at doing because of the age and the repairs that need to be done to it is replacing our fence line around our baseball field. That's coming in around 70 grand.
Have you received any money? For ARP money? Out of that 1 million?
That would be the ARP money.
Oh, okay.
So you received 70,000 for the repair?
Well, no. It's going to cost about 70 grand. So I think we're all getting about 43,000, and then we'll make up the difference.
I see. And that was like the big project that you wanted to do for the village with this money?
Well, at this point in time, yeah, because, you know, I'm in the process of building a new mayor's office. You know, construction's on my mind. We've got this $10 million, roughly $10 million multi-purpose center that we're also engaged in constructing. And so that's going to be adjacent to our existing baseball field. So, you know, with all of what's going on, I want to take care of what, you know, some of the major projects, the projects that really are going to fit into our funding requirements.
Mayor Al?
The fencing is one of them.
Right, yeah. Mayor Al?
Hey, good morning again. Yeah, so like the mayor mentioned, we all have our own programs and things that we want to instill in the community. So as well, here even as including hardening the infrastructure of its existing or even improving by building new facilities for the entertainment and to accommodate all the youth and activities that are coming through with including summer programs and stuff like that in the community. So we got like we've compiled packages for bids for people to come in and submit for the improvements and for the infrastructure and programs too as well that we got laid out for the programs for the youth in the upcoming summer.
What are some of the specifics on that, Mayor Al?
Well, like some of the structures here, if you can tell, they're in the past they're already been like dilapidated to they're under wood. So we want to change all of those things and make them all to metal and put a better roofing and stuff and adequate space for the different programs that we would have. So we're planning to have camps and things like that during the summer as well.
I did want to ask Mayor Alec. Wait.
We have Mayor Gogui and Mayor Ngata here.
Sorry. Mayor Ngata, about the situation over at the Marble Cave area. I noticed that you were also addressed a letter from landowners in the area regarding problems with water. I'm not sure if it's GWA or if it's KEPCO, but are you familiar with the issue?
Yes, it's been brought up to my attention. So I'm very proactive in terms of when the recipients would call and in the event Mr. Nelson or anything's brought to my attention, I try to get a hold of the proper authorities so that we can get the adequate infrastructure back online and get waters and whatever needs to be done for those residents back online. So I know that they've been having multiple breaks. I believe it's been brought up to the regulatory agencies as well as to the Attorney Generals. I know some other issues are about there, but that's between some initial landowners as well that want to undertake some other issues. But with what's concerning with water or any thing that happens within regards to the thing, I try to go and get a hold of the proper regulatory agencies to see if we can get everything back online.
So they don't have water even until today?
Yes, the water was restored. In fact, like I said, at times to be a back and forth battle between the agencies and who's responsible. But of course, if there's any contractual work that's being done in any general area, and even just like with the development in its whole, in a nutshell, but everything should be policed and also inspected. So it's my understanding that the water was back online, but like I said, unaccountable sometimes and multiple times.
Mayor Gogui, we did have a comment here from a resident. Good morning, Mayor Gogui. Are there services for household trash or scrap of metal? If so, what's the status for pickup? Household trash and scrap metal pickup, Mayor Gogui. Is there that kind of service available through the mayor's office?
Well, we just got notified via email yesterday that the purchase orders for abandoned vehicles, and I think it's electronics, not white goods, but electronics, will be available for pickup today. And so once we receive them, there's obviously going to be some administrative work between us and the vendors to coordinate the pickup and drop off of those items. And so I don't anticipate that we'll actively get moving and removing abandoned vehicles and or the electronics for about another 2 weeks. And as far as white goods, that's again a separate purchase order that we normally receive, and until we get that, it's in a holding pattern. You know that generally speaking, the mayors get 5 different purchase orders for the recycle program. That's vehicles, white goods, loose metals, electronics, and tires. And so each category has its own purchase order and its own funding for each of the mayor's offices. So we work on 5 different purchase orders for those 5 different categories.
Mayor Ngata, I wanted to follow up on the MAB clinic. I know that it was shut down. They were waiting for more treatments to arrive. We understand that some have, or shipment has arrived. Are they still going to use your senior center?
Yes, you're right, Bree. It's temporarily on hold. I believe the pills, the suggested pills that were to replace that thing is on island. I believe, I'm not too sure, but they will be. I think they're collectively putting a plan again to start administrating that within the community. So the use of the senior center is still as well being occupied at the time. I know that it was an agreement that among all the mayors that if we are going to open the senior center, that we want to make sure that everybody is online. And when we say everybody, all our own seniors are allowed to come. We don't want to be the one to decide if Tan Maria or Tun Juan can't come into our senior center. So we want to we're all on the same page with opening the senior center, and we still have discussions too about that regarding the opening.
But in the interim, they're still using the senior center over there in Mangilao for an infusion center because they're switching.
You're breaking up. We can't hear you.
Sorry, we didn't get you. My apologies, I didn't get you.
So they are still going to use the senior center in Mangilao for an infusion center.
Sorry, Bree, you're breaking up. I couldn't hear you.
Chris, can you ask?
Yeah, they're going to be using the Mangilao Center for an infusion center, no? Mayor Al, they're going to be using the Mangilao Center for a infusion center for the monoclonal antibody treatment?
Chris, I can't hear you.
I don't know. Are they going to open an infusion in Mangilao?
I didn't quite hear you guys. I apologize.
Mayor Al, so Mangilao, the senior center, are they going to open an infusion? Are they still going to use that for the infusion center for the monoclonal antibody treatment?
Yes, I believe so. They're still going to use it, and stated it's still going to be utilized.
Mayor Gogui, what was the reaction from, Mayor Al mentioned Tan Maria and Tunose and the senior center. So what was the reaction from the Manomco in your village when they found out the centers were going to be closed indefinitely?
Chris, I can't hear you. What was that, Chris?
What was the reaction from the Manomco and Ordot-Chalan Pago?
Can I chime in, Chris? The question was what's the reaction of the residents of Mangilao with the indefinite closure of the senior center for this purpose? Because Mangilao Senior Center affects my residents as well. I've got residents from Pago who go to the Mangilao Senior Center because they're the closest senior center to my village, and then the ones in Ordot go to Sinohanya, and so I think the goal of the council in general is to ensure that when one opens, all will open. If one has to remain closed for whatever reason, then all will remain closed, because it not only affects the senior centers and our seniors' access to those centers, it affects the meals that we're actually delivering to our seniors who typically attend the senior centers, and that what we're going to end up doing is forcing the vendor to split meals, make meals and deliver some of them to some centers, and then the others the centers that are closed, we're going to have to continue distributing those meals, and I think we're trying to avoid having that happen.
What about road repair, mayors? I know that Mayor Allig, when we had him on, said that road repair is going to be a big part of the spend for this the ARP funding. Road repair, Mayor Al?
Oh, the only road repairs I've been doing so far right now is just repairing potholes. So I would love to, as much as I want to run down my list and start paving everyone's road. I mean, that's a hefty chunk of change. You got to remember that paving a road consists of there's a lot of moving parts on that. So we're talking about thousands of dollars to pave those roads, and once we see that light of the money available, then we can start working on a plan and seeing how much stretch of a road is possible and what's feasible with what's given.
Mayor Gogui?
Well, yeah, if I may, last month we had our quarterly meeting with the governor, and road repairs were in fact addressed. And so the delays in road repairs is not really funding. The delay in road repairs is actually the awarding of contracts. And so I know that Public Works has put out to bid, several projects involving road repairs, including their IDIQ, or indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity for asphalt, that they combine with their internal crews, road repair crews, to fix our village roads. And it's not that we can't get the work done. It's really the asphalt work that is needed for these road repairs, and that we're competing with other projects, requiring asphalt work. And with the military buildup, that's actually pretty significant. So scheduling even asphalt work with the companies that do it has been challenging, according to Vince Ariola and the governor herself.
What about crime in the villages? I mean, it just seems like we're seeing a lot more violent crimes, a lot of break-ins, burglaries, robberies,
discoveries of human remains.
Breaking up.
Yeah, she's talking about crime, Mayor Al. Crime in your villages. What's the impact? What's the effect? What are residents saying? I mean, I know we've just recently had discovery of human remains in Ordot-Chalan Pago. Every time you turn on the news, it's just one thing after another with the crime. So what's the status in your villages?
Chris, can you say the first part of your question? I know you were asking what's the status of our villages, but what was the first part of the question?
Relative to the crime, Mayor Gogui.
Yeah, I mean, crime is an issue. Crime has as a concern for I think all villages, and a lot of speculation surrounds the fact that crime has grown because families are struggling, and I know that with our neighborhood watch groups in the village, and we probably have about 12 active groups. I mean, truly active groups. We've been able to deter crime because people that that the community believes is in their areas for reasons not necessarily good. Realize that people are taking their photos and all that stuff, and realize that if they're taking a photo, that means they're probably dispersing it amongst neighborhood watch chat groups, which is actually occurring. And that's been a big help in the deterrence of crime. As far as how extensive it is, I can't say. I can't say. We see things and we hear things that are occurring in the village, but I don't think it's any worse than it was before COVID.
What can you tell us about the human remains that were found in your village a few days ago?
Well, actually, I can't. That's a current ongoing investigation. That's something that should be addressed directly with GPD. It would be out of my, it would be inappropriate and really out of my comfort zone to address that active investigation.
Right. But Mayor, what are your residents saying? I mean, you're saying that you don't think it's increased since before the pandemic, but what are you hearing from the people in your ville?
Well, Chris, I think residents are concerned. Residents are curious about the remains and who it might be, and how long that those remains may have been there. I mean, the interesting thing is that the area where the remains were found, I can't even tell you if it's male or female, but the area where the remains were found has been an abandoned vehicle for almost my entire time as mayor. So that's almost 14 years. And so I mean, how long those remains have been there, it's hard to tell. Because even if there was decay of those remains that, that gave off an odor, it was too far to any other homes or any other areas to detect. So, again, other than that, that's a question that really GPD needs to answer.
Thank you for your insight on that, Mayor Gogui. Mayor Al, how about in Mungie Town? Is it still Mungie, or what's going on with the crime?
It's pretty much it's crimes all over, Chris, and it's very unfortunate that they prey on the weakest times and time of any given time now. So with the neighborhood watch chats groups and stuff, I know they've been policing a lot, and it helps. We have interesting people that want to also get involved recently with a lot of the activities going on and concerns with, of course, with the crime just in general everywhere within the community. Was especially just that other one with the group that bandit up in Toowoomba. So a lot of people are reaching out and want to also chime in and share their concerns as well. And we try to encourage them to just be vigilant and keep it to what is very prudent and what should be. And sometimes you don't want those certain things out there, and you want to make sure not to cause panic and make sure we get adequate information and the proper authorities at the same time are aware.
How is your community surviving through this fourth surge? We hear about the economic impact, businesses closing down. I'm not sure what the lines are like in the food commodity distribution lines in your villages. So how are your constituents faring these days?
Translation, Chris?
She's asking
having a hard time hearing you.
How are your constituents faring during this?
Maybe it's Breeze Mike. What was that again?
How are your constituents faring during this surge? We know that there have been long lines for the commodities. Just anecdotally, we hear people are having a hard time, but let's take it to the mayors and find out. There's no PUA. There's people out of work.
Well, we see. I'll be frank. I still see a lot of needy people. In just the past couple of weeks, we've been very blessed. Some people have been donating food and stuff. Just the other day, we've been giving people food, non-perishable food, or whatever we have on our pantry. We have like a pantry here at the community. So if we have leftovers or any donations, we prepare a bag and put a bag together for those that are in need. So I still see people that come by and ask for food. So we're still receiving that here in our site.
Mayor Gogui?
Yeah, that's the same with our village. We have a food pantry. It's not a lot, but when people come in for assistance, we give them what we can. One of the things that I've seen increase as well is people coming in looking for clothing. Their kids are back in school, et cetera, and they really don't have enough clothing or the appropriate clothing to get, for them to send their kids into school. And so, there's been an uptick in not only food donations, but there's been an uptick in clothing donations. And so, when people come to our office looking to see if we have any clothes that they can rummage through and possibly take for their children, we allow them to do that as well. And so, people, it's tough. I mean, I think everybody realizes it's tough. Prices have gone up. Gas has gone. Food prices have gone up. Gas prices have gone up, and so there aren't a lot of people that are working that have jobs or have income that can absorb these increases. And so, we've seen an uptick in, like I said, those coming to our offices asking for help. And we're not public health, and unfortunately, we don't control the public assistance program. But we'll give them as much as we can, and then guide them on where else they can go to seek assistance.
Mayor, are these people, are they already receiving public health benefits, or are they maybe not eligible, or are they kind of in between from when you talk to them?
Well, I think it's a mixture of both, believe it or not. I mean, there are some actually that I know of that are working minimum wage, but they're not, they're earning too much to actually qualify for public assistance, and so they're just looking for that little extra help, just that little, just to keep them afloat for a week or so.
Right, to get to payday.
Until the next payday. Exactly.
Mayor, we got a call for Mayor Gogwe here. Technically, I don't know how this is going to work out. The aircon's been out in here for a couple of days, so I don't know if that's wigging out our gear, but I could go ahead and translate for you, Mayor Gogwe. Good morning. Did you have a question for the mayor?
Yes, I did. I actually wanted to ask him about the crime, because I'm just caught some of what he's saying. It's not the same. It's actually worsened, and in the village. So we've got walkers, what I call walkers, and they would squat, or we have he's a lunatic. They arrest him, they send him back out. He'll yell early in the morning, and we can't bring this up I feel we can't bring it up to the mayor, because when I call, he's not there. And this is not to make everything look bad, because it is COVID and we're all supposed to social distance and we just can't meet up with you and talk about it. But you need to go around, because what's happening, besides the really bad potholes in my mind, is the fact that there are people out there that are committing crime. They're stealing. People don't even want to report it because GPD can't come out at its instant. So by the time they come out, the person the victim is already, oh my God, forget it, do it myself. So Mayor, please don't say it's still the same, or it's gotten worse. And that's just coming from one of many that feel the same way, that we're seeing it. They just found a body. How is it the same? It's not the same. It's worse. You're finding bodies in the village? That's insane. Thank you so much. There's many other topics, but we'll call in.
Thank you, ma'am. Mayor Gogwe, just your comments, but I want to say that even in Harmon and, even in EPAN.
Chris, I can't hear you.
In EPAN, in Harmon, and a lot of villages that I go to, I do see these people walking around just looking for trouble. And so how would you address that residents' concerns, Mayor?
Well, and I agree with you, Chris. And I heard the caller talking about people walking around, et cetera, et cetera. But people are walking around, and she's right. The area that she's referencing is a problematic area. She talked about the road, the condition of the road in my mind. That was addressed by the Lieutenant Governor at his last Island Beautification Task Force meeting, which I believe some of the media had attended and had publicized in the newspaper. Condition of My Road is horrible, but when it comes to crime and people walking around, they're not necessarily synonymous. You got more people staying home because they have more people out of work, and so what do? They walk around. Now, there have been occasions and phone calls that we have received in our office about suspicious people in the neighborhood, and so I ask oftentimes that if you see suspicious people, take a photo so we can capture who they are. Because even if I go out there because I'm not in the area, like GPD, they're not there when we go there. And so it's not just Maimai. I mean, we see suspicious kids, roaming the neighborhood in other areas, and even adults roaming the neighborhood, and other areas other than Maimai. But I think I really want to make sure that we're not quick to judge, and that if we think that they're actually in commission of a crime, then I tell you what, you guys know that a couple of years ago there was a commission of a crime. Somebody went into somebody's house. And my staff and we went there and apprehended the individual until GP got there. But if somebody's sitting at a bus stop and not, people aren't sure why they're there, I'm not going to automatically think that they're up to no good. And in fact, I will send somebody out there to investigate and even talk to them. But The one thing that bothers me about social media is we've allowed social media to make a lot of us paranoid, and we've got to grow up and say, are these people, just because they're not dressed like most of us, who still have jobs and who still can, still have funds to maintain our quality of life. I don't want to look at the folks that aren't able to do that. Like I said, people are coming to our office to see if we have clothing for their kids. And I don't want to automatically treat, those that don't have nice clothes or aren't dressed well as potential criminals in the neighborhood. And so I appreciate the caller's concern. And she goes, I have to drive around the village. I spend most of my morning out in the village. And the reason why I'm here now and not out in the village is because of this request for me to do this interview. But Chris will tell you, I said, well, we'll see. When I'm asked to do something in the morning, I'm in the village, especially with the construction work we've got going on. So I'm not trying to defend myself. I just, want to make sure that people understand that, not everybody that's walking around in the neighborhood, and if I see somebody, I'll stop and talk to them. And that not everybody that's walking around in the neighborhood are up to no good. And if you think they are, take a photo of them, send them to me, because I'll tell you what, one thing I do is I keep track of those photos. Mm. And if there's any reports on the police blotter that an incident occurred that I can tie one and one and make it two, I'll report it to GPD. In fact, if I really think that there's a real concern, like I said, I'll go out, I'll send my staff out, or I'll call GPD to make sure that they go out and investigate.
Well, Mayor, thank you. I'm very grateful for your time this morning. We did have one more comment, and maybe for Mayor Al too. Someone was writing in, how can they donate clothing to the mayor's offices? Because you said people are coming in to get clothing, right? So how can people make a donation? Do they just drop by the office? What's the protocol?
Well, they just need to call. They just need to call and say, they're coming in, and then we'll make sure that somebody's there to receive the clothing, and then we'll take it. But we ask that it's usable clothing. We don't want to be a repository of, of things that we're going to end up having to throw away anyways. And so, we really ask that residents who want to donate clothing or make any donation that they believe is going to be a useful item that we can pass on to families that are struggling. You're welcome to give our office a call. I'm sure, and a lot of the other villages, the mayors will do the same. And they'll accept the donations, and then we will try to tie those donations with the people who really need them.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Al, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mayor. There you go. So, Mayor Gogi, we'll go ahead and let him go do his rounds here. Mayor Al, I'm pretty sure he's got to go direct traffic or... right, Mayor?
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you. We're KUAM FM. I got Guam on the breeze side. Let's go to KUAM TV. Fix yourself. Good morning.